Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Knapik. Every week, we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions for ideas to enhance your success in all aspects of life. Successful Living with Bill Knapik starts right now. Here's Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Successful Living, and today a special edition as we have Elizabeth Stein with us, and she brought us to a super location. We are on location once again. Elizabeth, let's tell people where we're at.
Good morning, and thank you, Bill, for having us on. We're at the Citizens for Animal Protection out on I-10, where they have lots of variety of wonderful animals looking for a home. So that's what we're out here today to tell you all about that.
Lots of animals. We're going to find out more, and we have Freddie Cruz here with us to start out, and he is in the marketing department of Citizens for Animal Protection. Hey, Freddie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for coming out and crashing the party. Not really crashing the party, you were invited, and coming out to take the tour and see what we have to offer the city of Houston as we fight the fight to get as many animals into loving and deserving homes as we can.
That's right. There's quite a few. We haven't taken the tour yet, but there's dogs, cats, even I saw a rabbit.
We have rabbits of all sorts too. White ones, brown ones, spotted ones, black and white, fuzzy ones,
Long hair,
floppy ears,
little thing with big fuzzy head.
Yeah, ferrets too on occasion, and we were just talking to our shelter director Jessica, who says that birds go really quick.
Wow,
really quick.
So a lot of animals need help, and right now they're being cared for here at CAP, right off of I-10, west of the city. If you're not familiar with Houston, but a tremendous organization. The organization has been around for about how long?
51 years is the total number that we have been helping animals here at CAP, and it's so cool because it started with the Haig family. Peter and Monica Haig discovered at the quote-unquote city pound that the animals were not treated very well. And by not treated very well, they were not treated well at all. Oftentimes they'd be injured and neglected, and so they were treated as, oh, well, you know what? They're just animals. That's it. It's just a dog. And I think that we have reached a point, thankfully, we've reached a point here in 2023, still a long ways to go, but we've reached a point where most of us don't see dogs as just dogs or cats as just cats, especially
family.
Right, they're family, and a lot of times you look into some of these animals and you see a soul. You don't just see beautiful blue eyes or beautiful brown eyes when you're looking at a shepherd mix or whatnot. So yeah, the Haigs found a need, and so they created this movement. And our shelter founder, Kathy Munzer, who in the early 80s actually helped facilitate the opening of the first CAP location down the road on I-10 near Dairy Ashford. I always get those streets mixed up, but I-10 near Dairy Ashford. Hop, skip, and jump away from where we are right now at 17555 Katy Freeway.
Freddie, didn't she originally have animals in her home and work out of her garage?
She is one of the greatest animal advocates in the history of this city. She really is.
Well, she's a lovely woman, and she's done a great service for the animals.
Absolutely, absolutely. And her legacy is just flourishing all these decades later, along with the Haig family. When you think about the modest start from the small facility down I-10 to what we have right now, and if you're listening on the radio, not watching on YouTube, we are in this beautiful courtyard where we have the animals come out and they walk. You might not see it from here, but behind the courtyard, we have along the perimeter of the retention pond, about, if I had to guess, maybe about a quarter mile-ish of sidewalk that goes around the retention pond, where our animals, our dogs, are walked twice a day in the retention pond. For dogs that need socialization, they need to work on the anxiety. They need to work on, maybe they get a little nippy with their toys, a little protective. We want to take a test drive with a potential pet parent who wants maybe they want their Chihuahua to meet the German Shepherd mix in the shelter, and we have so many different mixes of mutts. My sparrow is a mutt himself, but if we want to do a meet and greet, they can do that as well.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's so many things. I've been a fan of cat for more than 10 years since I learned about their original location. And when you see it firsthand, not just when you walk through the doors and you see the oversized homes where these animals are, but you go and you see what the staff does every single day, multiple times a day, what goes into caring for these animals. It really just, it lights you on fire.
And as people drive by, again, on the Katy Freeway, a very busy highway here in Houston, we're on the south side of the Katy Freeway, and I have not been in the back, but it is interesting because when you look at the front, you just think, well, maybe there's nothing in the back, but really it's a park. You have a park, as you mentioned, the retention pond, and it's very nice out here, except that it's super hot. But
It's breezy.
We do have a little bit of a breeze. So, but the important thing is there are so many animals that need help.
Right.
Now, the good news is we have a big city and people are moving in on a regular basis, really every day from all over the United States. So those that are new to Houston, Texas, and we know there's a lot of you that have just become residents of Houston, welcome to Houston. But here it is, if you don't know about CAP, right here on the Katy Freeway, if you want a friend, a pet, dog, cat, something else, you have it right here. Guinea pig, you have it right here. Right
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. We have guinea pigs, we have rabbits, we have the ferrets, again, the occasional bird. We have so many beautiful cats too here at Citizens for Animal Protection. And I've got to speak on something here, Bill, and that is the Education Center. At the time of this recording, there are some kids in the big room. When you walk in, you look ahead, and you're going to see the education room. We got the timeline of the history of CAP, but you see the kids in the Education Center, and kids of all ages from 6 to 14. We have 16, 17, 18-year-old volunteers as well, and they grow up to, when they are in their 20s and 30s, they remember their experience with the education system, and so they're bringing their kids, and they remember these experiences, because I think what happens, and I really believe in my heart of hearts that the way to mitigate the homeless animal problem is with informing and educating. And so when you have a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old who might be coming through one of our summer camps this year, that in 20 years or in 25 years, when they get married and they have their little tater tot that wants a puppy, and they come through the doors of CAP and they see that German Shepherd, and that little German Shepherd puppy is going to be probably the size of a Chihuahua. Well, we all know as grown-ups, that little Chihuahua-sized German Shepherd is not going to stay that little.
No, not going to stay.
Right. So it's all about telling the kids, like, hey, here's what happens. And then as they grow older, they remember these experiences and they remember how to properly care for an animal. And that's what I love about what we do here.
Let's tell people about the process. Someone may be listening and say, we were thinking about getting a dog.
Sure.
Take a dog, for example. What is the adoption process? If someone says, I want to adopt a dog, what happens?
If you want to meet a dog, you have to fill out an application to interact with the animal when you walk in.
Just to meet the dog.
Just to meet the dog. We have to know that you're serious. And what you're gonna notice is that there are a variety of signs throughout the shelter that gives the size of the animal. So if you're going back to the example of a German Shepherd, this is the perfect example because we see so many of these Shepherd mixes come in, is that they're not going to stay babies forever, and they're going to grow really, really fast. And they get mouthy and loud, and as with a little baby, a human baby, they teeth. Teeth, and so say goodbye to your shoes if you don't put them up. And then that's, if someone doesn't have that experience with a little animal, they're going to be really quick to bring them back. Whether they're bringing them back to CAP or they're dropping them off at a shelter somewhere else.
Do you as an organization follow up on adoptions once they've gone through the process, met their new family member, and have walked out the door. Is there a follow-up to that?
What is so incredible about CAP is that they follow up with us. Oh, you should see the Google reviews and the photos, and in some cases videos. We get a lot of DMs of people saying, "Hey, yeah, we got little Fido,
That's great.
and we love him. We adopted him 7 months ago. We hear his, and I'm using Fido as a name because I can't think of a name right off the top of my right off the top of my head. Elvis.
Okay, it's the name of my dog, but okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Elvis, we're thinking about you
We're
out
thinking
there.
about you.
Well, that's awesome. So, as far as let's take the cats, is it the same process if you want to
Yes.
adopt a cat, or
Any
maybe two? Sometimes
animal.
people would adopt multiple animals. Would that be safe to say? Is that possible too?
We had a couple come in. Okay, I'm going to space on the names, but we did have a young married couple come in and adopt a brand new baby kitten, and then one of our VIPs. So a VIP here at CAP, very important pet. They have been in our care for longer than 30 days. So they adopted a VIP, not a puppy, an older puppy, maybe young adult. I think he was 3 or 4, and then a little baby, little precious little cotton ball.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so to that description of
Sure.
these two animals, you have a website,
Yeah.
and that website periodically is updated with pictures of animals, correct?
It is consistently updated. As the animals go, the pictures come down. As the animals come in, the pictures go up. And special thank you to all of our volunteers. You know, much of what we do is thanks to what they do in their spare time. So we have volunteers that not only walk the dogs and take them out for enrichment activities. You may see them walking around with the blue T-shirts or the blue smocks. That's how you differentiate between the volunteers and the paid staff. But yeah, so our volunteers will take pictures, they shoot videos. We have a lady, Cassandra, who comes in and writes up cute little stories about the cats.
That's
It is so sweet. And you know, when you're talking about volunteers, these are people who they could choose to do anything in the world, and they're coming out, braving this heat, and caring for our animals, enduring I-10 traffic.
Mhm.
And
We've all experienced that.
yes,
right?
yes, absolutely.
So your volunteers that want to get involved,
Sure.
I'm sure that sometimes you have more than enough and sometimes you don't have enough. Do they fill out an application online, or they come in and it's a personal interview? How do you decide about that?
Thank you so much for asking that, because I think the common notion is, oh, well, I want to volunteer. I'm just going to go right up and do it. And unfortunately, that's not the case. We do have volunteer orientation. We have it twice a month. We have volunteer initiation. So we have a time that you basically, backing up, you go to the website, and that's cap4pets.org, cap4pets.org. You fill out the volunteer form, and you get an email from our volunteer coordinator, Alice, and she's awesome and will keep in contact with you about the next steps. And we just had one about a week and a half ago. We had about 40-something people show up, which was
That's huge.
huge. So
Big
we're
number.
we're not going to turn away the help. You want to come out now? There are age
Of
restrictions.
course.
So what you need to do is just go to the website and
Cap4pets.org.
yes, cap4pets.org to really learn the number four.
Number
Right. I've never typed it in the wrong way, so I don't even know where that would go.
You know, I always just Google the organization, and
Yeah.
somehow we find the website
Sure,
that way as
absolutely.
well.
That's a good one.
But
That's a good
you're reading my mind, because I was going to ask, yes, the adults can volunteer, but also children under a certain age, as long as they have the parental.
As long as they have
Parent.
the parent with them,
Okay.
yes.
It could be a liability.
Kids love to help as well.
Right, and let's be honest, the cute little puppies, they're nippy, and
Sure.
even the bigger puppies, they're jumpy, and if we have we can't have a 4 or 5-year-old getting
Yeah.
trampled
No.
by or scratched by a cat, and we all know that cat scratches are not good.
And what you said earlier made me think of as we are children, or as let's say as we're growing up, we create the memories we remember through our whole lives.
Yeah.
I mean, even the children that are here at the camp that you have, but even volunteers, those are memories that they learn about animals. They'll have that their whole life. That will influence should they have pets later. And I'm also kind of corresponding this for some reason with the rodeo. As the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, animals and children and volunteering, competing, that's all part of the great experience of growing up that is offered right here. So many opportunities in Houston in so many categories, Elizabeth, right?
It's huge. It's huge. And, treating animals with kindness and compassion is a trait that we hope translates to treating other people in the world, in your community, with kindness and compassion. And what better way to learn that than through the animals?
Absolutely. And selfishly, I would have to say that I hope that some of these kids, or as many of them as possible, that come through these camps this year, next year, or heck, even when they come and do story time every Thursday, that they get inspired and want to get into the veterinary field. We are experiencing a nationwide veterinary shortage, which means that the shortage has hit very close to home for us. We do have a nonprofit, low-cost, high-quality clinic, and I cannot wait to take you both inside the Cap Cornelius Clinic. It will blow your mind. It will blow your mind how incredible this facility is. However, with a veterinary shortage, thanks to certain events of the past 3 years, we are experiencing a downturn in people that are working in the field.
You're helping with marketing, Freddie. We're talking with Freddie Cruz at CAP, Citizens for Animal Protection. Freddie, tell us a little bit about how this is your role here. You love animals, obviously, but how did you find your way here to CAP? And what was your motivation? You could be doing a lot of things in life. Why this?
Well, I first learned of CAP through my boy Zeke. I happened to be at West Houston Volkswagen, just right down the street, and the neighboring dealership is Subaru, and the Mazzaros family, huge supporters of CAP. They've helped sponsor over 15,000 adoptions, which is gargantuan. But I was getting my car serviced, and I had some downtime. I forgot to bring a book to read, and as you know, when you go on a Saturday,
you didn't have your smartphone.
I didn't have my smartphone with me. And,
that's all I need.
Yeah, well, so I wanted something to do, so I walked over to CAP, and this beautiful little scraggly, cuddly little doggo was throwing himself against the cage, wanting to be touched, and he melted my heart. So I didn't adopt him right away because we had family. But long story short, I begged my wife to come over to CAP, and she's like, "Fine, we'll go." So we come with our girls, and he was a little barky. The girls wanted a Chihuahua, but we came out to the park, and magic happened. And we did not get a Chihuahua. No offense to Chihuahuas, because they're cute.
Chihuahuas listening.
For all the Chihuahuas listening.
Chihuahua owners out there.
Yeah, they're for all the Chihuahua owners. I get it. They're cute. Yeah. They're very cute. But yeah, we got our little Zeke.
Awesome.
Zeke the freak.
How old is Zeke?
Zeke sadly passed away at the end of 2020. And he was 13 years old. But, we had him for 10 years. It was a great run. Yeah. A great run.
There's no doubt. You said it at the very beginning that the animals, the dogs, cats, I believe they come with a soul.
Yeah.
And when it's their time, and I just lost Callie, my dog, 13 years, a few weeks ago, but it's almost impossible to think that when a dog, cat passes away, that's the end. They go somewhere. There's a purpose for their lives here. And also, I think they live on. We might even see them again. Who knows?
The night that he passed away, I had this dream. We were in a backyard, and it was raised fence, and I can see him running along, trying to get underneath.
This is the dream.
And I'm running. I'm like, hey, see? And he like kind of teased me. He would always do this little nip that Australian cattle dogs would always do. They'd be like, right? And we knew that because if we knew that that's what cattle dogs did. And he would kind of just jab underneath the fence and then run. And then I woke up.
It's hard. It's hard for the family because that is a part of your family.
That was almost 3 years ago. Thanks for making me cry.
Well, on that note, before we close this segment, we're talking with Freddie Cruz, here with Elizabeth Stein as well, our super show partner. By the way, Elizabeth, not only here as we're helping animals today or hoping to help animals, you're helping people all the time in other categories. We'll get into that maybe later. In the meantime, Freddie, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
Yeah, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one crying this morning, but please, y'all, we just want to see you. Whether you're bringing the kids in for a summer camp, there might be a few more left for the end of summer, but we do reading programs every Thursday. It's okay. You can squeal. You can cry all you want. Well, I mean, the human too. You can squeal.
Dogs are walking by.
Yeah, dogs are walking by. Yes, they are. But please visit our website. It's cap4pets.org. Hours Monday through Thursday, noon to 5. Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5. Just come on by, please. We want to see you.
And the website again is?
cap4pets.org.
Thank you, Freddie. Thanks for having us out today.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Bill Knapik has produced another show, Successful Living with Bill Knapik, one of the most unique programs of its kind. Sundays from 6 to 7 p.m. on AM 950 KPRC. Successful Living with Bill Knapik. Go to radiobill.net for more info.
Welcome back. As we continue, we now get to meet Jody Merritt. She's the Chief Operating Officer of the Richland Companies. Jody, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, let's tell people we are here, again, Citizens for Animal Protection off the Katy Freeway in the fourth largest city in the United States. That's Houston, Texas. Soon to be the third, they're saying, Elizabeth, because everyone's on their way, apparently. But Jody, let's tell people about the Richland Companies and your role.
Yes, sir. So the Richland Companies it's a women-owned organization. It was founded by Edna Meyer Nelson 32 years ago. We own and manage and lease our own office space, retail centers, industrial parks.
And that's a big job. And is that in Houston, Texas, or does the company go beyond?
She formerly had several states. Right now she is limited here in Texas and in Louisiana.
Well, that is awesome. And you're leading the charge, Chief Operating Officer.
It's a big job, but I'm up to the challenge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, as far as the connection to CAP, Citizen for Animal Protection, how does that connect?
Well, I've always been an animal lover, always rescuing animals, passionate about the feral cat programs and feral cat problems that we have in all of our communities. But I was introduced to CAP when I moved here, probably about 6 years ago. And so I just felt like they really do it right. And after my first visit here, I kind of thought to myself, if you're an animal that is fortunate enough to be rescued, to be surrendered, but to get a chance to come here to CAP, it's like Disney World, because those animals experience so much care, so much love. And so I just really am passionate about the way that they care for animals.
Well, this playground back here will tell you that Disney World connection you're talking about. What a great area where they get to walk and play and climb toys and chase balls. So it's a lovely facility.
And also, I'm thinking about if I'm the animal and I'm coming out of a situation of whatever it may be. Sometimes an owner passes away, a single owner that leaves the animal behind, which is so sad, but it's another chance for the animal. I mean, this is a stop where maybe a rest stop if we're on a trip on a highway. This is a stop where they get to rest, recharge, and find their new life, and for others to find them.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're all doing good work here.
I think they do great work. I want to support however I can.
And now she's doing a whole lot of work here. tell us about your work here as a volunteer.
This year, I'm co-chairing the gala, which will be in November, and our goal this year is to raise $1 million.
That's great.
So our theme is Mission Possible, and our mission is to raise $1 million to help CAP keep committing to providing great care for animals. So I feel like it's accomplished. I mean, it's very possible, and the support and the people that love CAP and are loyal supporters, it's really remarkable.
Well, it's a very well attended event and has been in the past and has quite the following. So I know you're doing a few things different this year and you have honorees. What can you tell us about their participation?
Well, we have a great group of honorees. Every year we try to choose about 10 honorees, and some may be couples, married couples, or engaged couple or anything. But these individuals really work hard to promote CAP, get awareness about CAP, encourage their friends and family to visit CAP, tour CAP, adopt an animal, foster an animal. They can, buy tickets, buy a table, plan to attend the event. But, what's interesting is that the honorees, they sort of compete with each other.
Yeah, it's a very
so
lively
there is
one.
a point system, and so we have a really good competitive group this year that are working hard.
And by the way, we're going to tell people, you said Mission Possible. That's Pawsible.
You got it.
As in not to, it sounds like possible. Right quick, going back a step, Jody, you moved from where, by the way?
I came from Dallas, Fort Worth.
How about that?
Yeah, I was born here. So
In
let
Houston.
me just put that out
So
there.
you're back.
Well,
I
you
came
saved yourself.
back.
Welcome
I
home.
came back.
Yeah.
That's right.
home.
That's right.
It's interesting. People do come from Dallas. Sometimes, I just forget that Dallas is up there. It's a gigantic city and a lot going on, but it's not that far away.
No.
And it's a great place, too. I used to go there all the time.
Yeah.
So, and you found CAP right here. You're helping out. As far as what you see, let's tell people, you mentioned fostering, okay? People know with CAP, or I think they do, especially now, you can adopt an animal, a dog, a cat, rabbit. But you mentioned fostering. What's that? How does that work? And how's that possible?
Well,
if someone doesn't want to take complete responsibility but says, I'm a school teacher. Here's just an example. Brainstorm. I'm a school teacher. I'm off for the summer. I can help for the summer with an animal, but then I don't have time after. Is that a thing?
Fostering actually is an important part of CAP because what it does is it allows room for other animals that are surrendered, meaning there's a kennel available for an animal. If someone can even take a set of pets and like you're saying, foster them for the summer, foster them for a weekend. Some of these animals have been here for a while. They need like a break. They need to go back and have
Socialization.
some, quiet time. Some of them, whoever need maybe maybe if they have a cold or something, they don't want to keep them here at the shelter. So they will instead maybe move them to a foster situation, and that person would just, give the care to the pet. And so it really frees up room to bring in more animals, and that is the goal.
So, and I'm thinking of another application for fostering. Summertime, not only are teachers relaxing and frolicking or whatever teachers do.
Kids are out.
Hi, teachers. Just saying we love you. But in the meantime, they're off, but also kids are out of school. So that's a nice time and another way for children to interact in their own home in a fostering capacity. Is that true? Would that be right?
Definitely.
Oh,
The
right.
responsibility of having an animal past just the loving part
Right.
is really big, and attending to their needs and making sure they get exercise and making sure that they get on a schedule of eating, sleeping, rest, and playing is an important training for all of the family.
Because it's interesting. Kids, I was a kid once too, Elizabeth. Can you believe it? Little, I grew up. But kids,
You're still a
sometimes
kid.
when they start, they're like, oh, daddy, mommy, I want a dog.
Of course.
But they have no idea.
Right.
But here's an opportunity for the younger kids, and the older ones do, I guess, a little bit more, but it gives them an idea of what's involved. So here you are, fostering,
Fostering
is alive
great.
and well.
Very
What's
much
the
so.
process? Is it the same thing? You come in and fill out an application?
Yes, you will come in and you will apply. You'll meet with one of the staff members, and who will then go over maybe what you can take in, what you're thinking, what your timing is, and they go by that. They also have a list of those animals that maybe need a break from the shelter, the
Sure.
ones that might do better inside someone's private residence,
Right.
instead of in a shelter situation.
So for dogs and cats. That's
Sure.
awesome.
So the money, you have some very hefty fundraising goals, and I'm 100% confident you're going to make it. In that, I know that money raised is often, there's money that goes to the general fund, and in a situation like CAP, you have to have the ability to keep this facility up and provide food and veterinary services, et cetera. But are there any interesting, restricted giving options for our listeners that are donors that say, I would love to underwrite a bench, or I would love to be able to underwrite towels. I know how many towels you go through here with the washing, or newspapers or other playground equipment.
CAP really succeeds because of its volunteers. I mean, we need newspaper. Right now, there's a shortage.
You need newspaper?
Newspaper. We need newspaper. They line every puppy's
Absolutely.
and dog's kennels in newspaper. We need somebody who unfolds the newspaper, runs it through the machines to shred it. I mean, there's a lot of parts that take a village. It really does. So we are there's so many opportunities and so many different ways people can help. I mean, even if you're someone who's home who can't come to CAP to work or help, you can go on Chewy or Amazon and see what CAP needs, and you can make those donations straight through those websites, and
that's
those
great.
deliveries will be right here.
That's great.
So many ways to help. I'm even thinking of, as we mentioned, that some dogs and cats, we all will leave this earth at some time. And sometimes I remember someone with my dogs, their dog passed away, and they had medicine left over. So they said, here's the heart guard for your dog. But if something happens where an animal passes away and someone's not ready to adopt another one, they may have supplies, as
They
in
do.
food, maybe some leftover sealed medication that they could bring over here.
Exactly.
Is that right?
They're open for anything pet related.
Details.
They will take
A leash.
beds, leashes.
So here you go.
I mean, even blankets for
Yes.
cats and dogs, and towels, and all of those things that you don't really think of being necessities, but they are here. So
Details are so important. So many little things. We're talking with Jody Merritt here at Citizens for Animal Protection. She's with the Richland Companies, helping right here at CAP. Elizabeth, unbelievable. I mean, we need to, before the show is over, itemize all the ways to help, because there are so many.
There's so many.
Other than adopting, you got volunteering, fostering, donating items, newspapers. Now I know what to do with my Wall Street journals
Please,
that are
yes,
piling up.
yes.
Right.
Because that painting project's not going to happen. Just saying. It's too hot.
Well, tell us how the listeners, that if they're interested in attending the event, are your tickets on sale, your tables on
They
sale
are,
online at
yes.
this time?
Yes, and
Okay.
our friends at West Houston Subaru, they donated
Right around the
a
corner, right?
vehicle. Yes, they did.
Oh,
They've
good
done
for
this
them.
so many
Yes.
years, and so we're selling raffle tickets online. They can go to it by catforpets.org, and so there they can buy a raffle ticket. For $50 for that vehicle. They'll draw for that car that evening of the gala. They can go online and buy tickets to attend, buy a table for them and their friends. And, there's just so many ways to give. And we want to make it as easy as possible for people to find those reasons and resources. So, if you'll visit the website, you'll see all the different ways that you can do that.
That sounds great.
And people could call, right, and
Oh,
get some information
absolutely,
as
yes.
well. Some people still want to use the telephone, like me, right, and hear a person and have things explained in a certain way.
Yeah.
So, about how many animals are here right now? Let's take dogs, for example. Do you have an idea?
70 dogs
Are
about
here
70.
as we speak. And again, those of you tuning in right now, we're on location, Citizens for Animal Protection. Right now, you're housing about 70 dogs, and they're up for adoption.
They are. They sure are.
And I'm thinking of 70, every shape and size, I'm guessing.
You got
right?
it. Yes, sir. You've got it. There's so many different.
And they've been checked out. They've been cared for. They have shots.
Every animal that is
up to date,
that is brought here goes through very, very they completely do a
rigorous
medical
exam. Sure.
We work up on every animal, and they want to make sure too that they're not putting an animal maybe that was surrendered in with another group of animals that may have an illness. So
Very
there's so
responsible.
many things they have to
Very
do
responsible.
prior to the animal being ready for adoption.
Yeah.
So.
That's all great news. It's a great facility.
Well, I hope we're making an impact. And by the way, as I'm saying a million times, we are on location. But as we're on location, just to paint the picture for those that are not seeing the YouTube video, there are dogs being walked. I was going to say cats being walked. That doesn't happen. I've heard it done. But in the meantime, as we're here outside in the heat, the dogs are being walked by the staff here. And it's a beautiful back of the building with a lot of space, a lot of places for the dogs to run, and it's very nice. So stop in.
Serene.
Someone could come in and just find out what's going on here and how they can help, and maybe even adopt or foster one of the animals right here in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
We would love
Jody,
it.
thank you so much. And I know you have a co-chair this year as well.
I do.
And we didn't get to meet her today. But
Christine Johnson.
Christine, so we wish
Yes.
you both
Thank you so much. I
huge
hope
success.
you'll be there, and I hope you'll be there as well.
What is the date?
It is Saturday, November 18th. This year it'll be hosted at the Post Oak Hotel.
It seems like everything's happening in October and November. All these, but I mean, really, it's sounds like it's far away, but it's really not.
You're right.
November, and it's called Mission Possible, and that
such a cute theme.
Yeah,
right is that on the CAPS website?
it sure is.
So okay, people could find out more about
Sure
that.
is.
Yeah.
And also, well, Jody, what else should we know? What didn't we cover that we should?
Well, I wanted to make sure we let everyone know the executive director here at CAP is Sandy Mercado, and so you were mentioning, someone who wants to talk on the phone, who do they need to call? That would be someone who could certainly field those phone calls of someone who's interested in helping and maybe has a unique way to help, like you're saying, a bench, or there's some improvements we want to do here, just here at the facility. If someone has an opportunity that can say, I've got a crew of guys that can help replace lights, or
I have
build
Boy
a
Scouts.
fence, or
Boy Scouts that want to come weed the garden. I mean, there's a lot to be done. So, do we dare touch on adoptions and the physical space that is available right now for intake? Is that, I know summers are tough times. I know a lot of smaller towns around us are pretty full.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things. The shelter is at capacity right now. And, it's kitten season on top of that.
Yes.
So there's just animals everywhere. And so that's the importance of fostering.
Yes.
Tell us, what does kitten season mean? Does that mean there's more kittens here now than normal
Well,
throughout
there's
the
just
year?
during this spring and summer period, there just tends to be more litters of kittens born. And so, taking care of them, making sure that they're not out in our streets getting run over by cars. I think CAP, one thing I want to mention that I think they do a really good job at is the feral cat
Population.
program. And that's the trap, neuter, release. And so, you might see an animal, a cat that was maybe born in a neighborhood. These are cats that will never be domesticated. They will never, ever be able to live inside someone's home, and you wouldn't want them to, So they don't want to be around people, but they've been born on our streets. They do a great job at taking care of rodents.
Certain things, yes.
They have a purpose.
They do have a purpose. And so one thing I always encourage people that are like, oh, I've got all these cats that show up at my house. And, I'm like, we need to trap them. We need to go and have them neuter or spayed here at the Cornelius Center, or then they'll release them within like 48 hours of that surgery back to that same area. You'll see sometimes animals that, cats that they've got the little clipped ear.
Yes.
So you'll know from afar that animal has been
I've not seen
neutered
that.
or spayed. So what that will help do long term is it will help reduce the number of animals cats in that colony. But one thing that's important is, and I tell everyone this, it has a vacuum effect. So people that are like, I'm just going to, load those cats up, take them to another neighborhood. Well, guess what? Another cat is going to move in. So I always say, love the ones you're with. Just love them.
You ought to write a song there, Jody.
Yeah, adopt them. And, help that way. And that is, I feel like, the responsible and humane thing to do in taking care of our communities.
Very good advice.
Jody Merritt, Chief Operating Officer of the Richland Companies. One other thing I will ask, donations. Mm-hmm. Now, people hear the show at the time of broadcast, maybe on the internet right here in Houston, Texas. But on the internet, people listen from afar. If someone wants to donate, whether they're here in Houston, Indiana, California, what should they do? They can donate just pure money, right?
They sure can, and it's welcomed. We've got some of our greatest donors, or maybe people that have lived here in Houston at one time and now do not, but still believe in CAP's mission. And so they're welcome to go on the website. They can call and speak to anyone here in the staff if they don't want to go on the website and make a donation. There's people that have set up giving, monthly, that is like directed specifically to one department.
Have you ever found it where people in their wills, maybe they don't have children, maybe they'll take a certain percentage of their assets and say, hey, 5%. Does that happen?
Absolutely.
So
sure does. I know.
Hopefully giving some people ideas.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much,
for adoptions.
Jody Merritt. Thanks for being with us.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck with the event.
Thank you so much.
Bill Knapik has produced another show, Successful Living with Bill Knapik, one of the most unique programs of its kind. Sundays from 6 to 7 p.m. on AM 950 KPRC. Successful Living with Bill Knapik. Go to radiobill.net for more info.
Well, as we continue with our last segment, Elizabeth Stein is here. Let's learn a little bit about Elizabeth right quick. Elizabeth, let's tell people what you do, because if they tune into the show on a regular basis, you're helping right here with animals.
Right here at CAP.
And fire department.
Help with the firefighters all the time.
And you have some words about animal safety right here for this hot summer that we're in. Let's tell people.
So for all the listeners and pet owners, and really even the responsible walkers that pass a pet and a pet owner, summer and winter is a terribly difficult time for the animals. And we hear on the news all the time about people that just leave their animal for just a split second in the car when they run into the building. We're going to be right back. Sometimes they say, well, we left the motor running. But the reality is there is really no good amount of time to leave an animal
Just don't leave,
or a child.
Just don't do it.
Or an elderly person in a car in the heat here in Houston. It's just brutal. And we've been given some wonderful facts. A big shout out to Krista Shamley. She's with the Gulf Coast Veterinary Specialist, and she is their relationship liaison manager, a good friend, a great fundraiser. But I reached out to her, and before you know it, my inbox was full of information about the do's and don'ts of animals in the heat.
So you're going to tell us some do's and don'ts.
So I'm going to tell you some do's and don'ts.
I'm going to say one. I'm going to just echo it. Don't leave an animal in a car.
Don't leave your animals
anytime.
in a car. And, really, it's illegal to leave animals locked up in cars and walk away from cars. So we hope everyone will pay attention. So a few fun facts, if you don't mind, I'll do a little bit of reading off of here about heat stroke in animals. And it's basically short-nosed dogs are the first really to be subject to heat stroke. Pugs, boxers, those dogs with long hair, young dogs, as well as seniors, 7 years and older. And it does not take 10 minutes for your dog to overheat, suffer a stroke, or suffer other illnesses. And so there are many signs that you can read about online, or we'll tell you about today, about how to recognize those things. But basically, if you're going to go outside and exercise, and I go to parks and I walk, and I can tell you that I love talking to the dogs that walk around the park. These days, you should be walking your dog before 8 a.m. in the morning. And after that, you shouldn't be walking your dog until after 7 or 8 in the evening.
I agree.
So if you ever have just a clue, if you say to yourself, it just can't be that bad, put on a coat and go for a walk with your dog when it's 90-something degrees. And I bet
You're not going to like it.
you're not going to like it, and you're going to feel ill. So lots of little ways that we can notice what's going on with them.
Well, also with the heat, walking in the morning is a big thing, but also if you wait too long, the pavement gets super hot on their paws.
On their little feet.
So, and I had someone that has boots for their dogs, but even still, they should be out when it's hot. It's just too hot in Houston, Texas. So many things keep me here, but I want to leave because of the heat. Don't tell anybody. Just saying, if it weren't for...
Don't tell anybody, all those listeners out there. Do not tell what Bill said.
If it weren't for all the things that I'm privileged to get to do. But yeah, it's a hot place. Be aware of that with your animals. Just don't take them outside unless it's in the early morning or late in the evening, I guess.
Yeah, so some of the signs of heat stroke, obviously dogs pant. Their mouths are open, their tongue is out. This is how they cool themselves. But excessive panting is a surefire sign. Excessive thirst, thick saliva. There are some dogs that drool more than others, but there's some that don't drool at all. But they're very thick saliva. Vomiting, staggering. If their tongues turn bright red, pay attention to your dog. So many walkers are on their cell phones, talking as they're walking. The dog is usually on their side, sometimes behind them, but you need to pay attention to the signs of when they're going into stress. And it happens very, very quickly.
The phrase you used where someone said, I'm just going to be in there a minute. And I told you this story, but I'll tell the listeners, I happened to be just a week or so ago at a high dollar restaurant during lunch. What I mean by high dollar, I'm guessing it was an event I was at, but the lunches would be about $60-$70 per person. Okay,
Yeah,
so not
that's a
that
high-dollar lunch.
money doesn't relate to necessarily to people being smart. In the restaurant, and my friend that was with me, she says she's talking to the manager because there's a dog, and this isn't even a shaded parking lot, but a dog was in the car while the diners are having lunch here in Houston, Texas at 90-plus degrees, and they were like, but we left the window cracked. No. So that should not happen. Whatever level of income, whatever level of intelligence you have, don't do it. It's just they can die and get sick, and it's just terrible.
Before you know it, and reversing it is one of the hard things to do. So if you see that your animal is in distress and you are guessing it's the heat, obviously you're in the heat, you would know that. There are several things that you can do. Obvious things: move your pet to the shade. Cool their body off by wetting down their fur. Don't overcool them. Do not start packing ice on them because they have a bad reaction to that. And try to expose them a little bit to a breeze. And then, best piece of advice, get your animal to a vet. The way that they suffer, you don't understand. Your veterinarian would understand, and you need to be cognizant of that.
That's right. And dogs communicate in certain ways, but the one way that they don't talk. So that's one of the mysteries, and even other than heat, they can't tell us what hurts. The vet can figure ways out and things like that, but still, they can't talk to us. So we have to be extra careful with our animals in the summer, in the winter, and at all times.
Exactly.
What else?
I say, if you have any doubts about what to do, there are website after website after website on how to follow up on taking care of your animals and making sure that they are as healthy, providing enough water, making sure that they have cool spaces. If you're that person that puts your dog out in the morning, you can't just put your dog out in the backyard and leave them there. You've got to make sure that they're cared for, provide them with water, etc. So it's common sense. It's some pretty common sense things. So,
Elizabeth, all of a sudden I'm thinking about the Houston firefighters in the heat.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
from the fire, but just wearing the gear is one
Yes.
thing. So if you're a firefighter out there, a police officer, first responder, veteran, we appreciate you so much.
So much.
But
so
we
much.
listeners know that have heard before that you help the fire department as well. Let's tell people is HoustonBravest.org, right?
Correct. That's
You're
the
still
website.
involved
I'm
helping them all the
Still
time.
involved since 2018.
By the way, we had breakfast. You and I had breakfast at the Station 50. Captain Gabe Dominguez.
We had breakfast there a week ago, and we got there at 8:00,
Yeah,
and they had 4 calls before 9:00.
yeah.
So,
Cardiac calls, most of them, I
cardiac
believe.
calls, people, diabetics calling. It's shocking that the number of calls that the firefighters answered in 2022, over 500,000 calls were answered. And some of those, since we're here at CAP today, some of those are pet related.
That's right.
They're often as simple as your cat got locked up in the tree, down to, okay, if you have a fire, then they are able to help the pets out with the oxygen to get them through smoke inhalation. So they're great. So this year, just to hurry and get that in, the Red Hot Gala, we're in our 6th year. And
It's another gala coming up in October.
Another gala coming up, and it's a blast. You'll see the 2023-24 firefighter calendar guys
People
and
love that
girls on the runway this
They love
year.
that.
They love that calendar.
That's right.
And it is October 7th. Our tickets are also on sale. Donations, we welcome them, as do all the firefighters. So Houston's, with an S, bravest.org is where you hook up with that.
That's right. And by the way, I sent my son the picture of me getting to sit in the fire truck.
Oh,
How cool is that? He loved
You
that.
were such a cool little boy up there. You
It was
sure
so
were.
awesome.
But anyway, we do all have a great need for our first responders and a great respect of where they put their lives on the line. So I guess we ought to.
I guess that we're out of time.
Thank you. Yep. Quickly, donate for CAP, capforpets.org. You can connect with your Kroger or Randall's card to the CAP for community rewards. You can collect newspapers, unfolded, shred. You can purchase raffle tickets online for the Subaru for your great neighbors that donate every year. Supply donations from Amazon.
Sounds good. And you can find out more. The website was capforpets.com.
Org.
Or .org. I'm sorry. Let's say it again. The website is
capforpets.org.
and you can Google it as well. Thank
Yes.
you all. Thank you,
Thanks for
you,
being
Elizabeth.
with us, listeners.
for putting this together. Freddie, Jody, super awesome work, and all the people here at CAP doing tremendous work. There's a lot of people here behind the scenes helping the animals on a daily basis. So thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week. You can go to my website for all the shows to see and hear the shows by going to Radio Bill. That's me. You got me saying .org. RadioBill.net. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for
RadioBill.net.
listening.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Bill.
Bill Knapik has produced another show, Successful Living with Bill Knapik, one of the most unique programs of its kind. Sundays from 6 to 7 p.m. on AM 950 KPRC. Successful Living with Bill Knapik. Go to RadioBill.net for more info.